Hi, I'm Susan Roberti. Welcome to Let's Talk Tail Waggers. We have our friend of all friends are back. It makes me feel so good when people come back to visit us. Let's Talk Tail Waggers is really important to me. And we get some wonderful people that like to come back, visit, and talk to us once in a while and let us know what's going on. So before I get started, I want to say thank you to my cameraman. Thank you, Dave. You know, BPTV is all volunteers, and you are more than welcome to come up and do a show, learn how to do cameras, which is lots of fun, or just visit and see how beautiful it is. So now I'm going to say hi, Aaron.
Hi,
How
how are you?
are you?
Super. Great.
Good. And your organization is?
Pennsylvania Patriot Guard Riders.
And they are true loves. True loves, true loves. What do you do? What exactly is it?
We stand for veterans, servicemen, policemen, firemen. When they pass away, we escort them. We talk with their families. We support their families. We're there for them all the way.
And when you say all the way, you really mean all the way. Because I always was so impressed when my brothers were in the service, and if anybody lost their life and they brought them home, and whichever soldiers brought them home, they stayed. You know, they stayed with them from the time they, brought them home, and that was just like, oh wow, to me. I was just a teenager then, but wow, that was really something. But you guys, you go get food, you help the family.
Whatever the family needs. There are times we meet the family at the airport if a serviceman comes in that way, or we've taken them from their home and escorted them from their home and funeral homes and stood for them. So we do whatever the family needs from us.
It's heartbreaking, but in a way, but it's beautiful in another way that the families have somebody that understands what's going on.
We are family to them. Most of us have been in the service already, so we understand these are our brothers. And many times I will tell the family that serviceman is my brother, and that's why we're here.
That's, wow. So how many people do you know? How many people you have that volunteer?
We have, in Pennsylvania, we have about 5,000 members that volunteer. In Western Pennsylvania, the western half of the state, we have about 3,000.
Wow. Wow. And you're kept busy all the time, I bet, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
I cover half the state, so I travel, but I also am in contact with others that help me out that are actually on the site.
Yeah, wow. And they go to the people's homes, and they stay for how long after they're buried?
Up to that point.
Yeah, oh, okay.
And we still stay in support. If sometimes a wife or a mother, she'll be upset, and she'll still call, and we'll stay with that person.
Wow.
Or keep in contact or help them out.
People don't realize the hurt and the pain that's involved, because if you're not there, if you've never had it happen to you, then of course you don't know.
Correct.
But having you guys, and you are on your motorcycles, which everybody doesn't like motorcycle people, but I love them, because if they belong to your organization, they're wonderful people, because you follow or you lead.
We lead, and we are not a motorcycle group, but yes, we have motorcycles, but we use them to escort. We want to stand out for this family.
Yeah.
There's a big issue in our country today, and that is our servicemen. There are many suicides.
Yeah.
So it's hard for us. We are escorting a lot more younger servicemen, and their deaths are very difficult for the family.
Heartbreaking. Yeah, yeah. And it's amazing because if these young men come home and they have family, but they just feel so alone inside. I had 3 brothers that came home. And one came home from Vietnam, and has never been the same. He works and does it, but he wasn't Richie when he come home. He just wasn't my brother. He had changed. So my other brother stayed for 35 years. He loved it, so it didn't bother him at all. And my brother Bill was in for 4 years and came out and had his family, but he often would talk about it. But my brother Richard never talked about it at all, and you couldn't get him to talk about it either.
Well, war changes you. That's why now we've made some changes too to try to communicate with some of our veterans, because it is an epidemic now.
Yeah.
So they listen to us more than they would listen to other people, because we've been there. It's hard to erase those memories and that change. It's hard to erase it. I don't think a veteran ever erases that. So for us, when we talk to a veteran, trying to think what's going on with him, we have to put ourselves back into where we were back in the time like for me, Vietnam, because they understand that. They don't understand the civilian part.
Yeah.
They understand who we were back then. So
yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So we have to talk to them like this is the way we were. This is how we felt, and it's reliving our own memories too, and that's not always easy.
No, I was going to say, God love your hearts, because that probably brings up some real tender places, huh?
It does.
Yeah, I could imagine.
But there is an epidemic with suicides, and it's in our service. It's really heartbreaking.
And depression is unbelievable, and that's probably what they're enduring is depression.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't normally something we do, but our group, it isn't what our group normally does, but we have tried to make that connection with active duty servicemen.
Wow.
And talk to them, interfere by talking to them, because that's who they understand. They understand, particularly not all servicemen, but combat servicemen.
Your organization is wonderful. It's touched my heart over and over and over and over again. I'm just so proud that you guys come and visit.
Well, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad, I'm proud of them, because they're all volunteers. Nobody receives. I always say we get paid in the negative, because everything we do, we pay for ourselves.
Yeah.
Fuel, everything, food, everything. What we donate to the families.
Aww.
Sometimes a family has nothing. They don't have enough for a funeral. We help. Whatever we can do to help. And it's from us. We donate.
Yeah.
And we're glad to.
And this is our friend and our love, Spike. So what has Spike been up to besides getting old?
Well, Spike's a volunteer also. So Spike is a therapy dog. Besides everything else that he does, he's a therapy dog. So we go visiting, mostly to veterans, into a home, or some of these veterans, because of whatever, they've been there for a long time, they like to see these big dogs. Sometimes they'll invite the dog on their bed. He's too big, honey. And some of them are fragile, so we have to be careful. Spike has to be careful, so he's learned to do this.
Aren't you wonderful? You two guys are really something. And bet you he brings a smile.
He does.
I bet you he does. Big moose, huh? Yeah, when they're hurting. And they do. Dogs are just uncanny. They just know, even when you don't feel well, and you're sad in your heart. He knows that. Huh? He's your guy.
He's as big as he is. When he's visiting, he's gentle.
Yeah.
He tries to be careful because he understands that don't step on anybody. Don't
Yeah.
knock over their equipment.
He's a big love. And how long have you been doing this now? Oh, please.
Forever. I've been visiting the veterans hospitals since 1983.
Wow.
He's the third Rottweiler that I've taken to the hospitals.
Wow. And he likes to go.
He does.
And he gets into his mode.
He knows when I get ready to go, he knows what we're doing. He loves to go. As soon as he wants to get in the vehicle, once we get to a building, he knows we're in the building. These people have a lot of stories to tell too, and it relaxes them, and it makes a contact between me and them.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be petting him and talking about their past. It could be anything.
And they don't even know they're doing it.
They don't even know. They're just relaxed, and the stories you hear are amazing. Some of them have been heroes, and they're forgotten.
Look at this guy. And do you wag your, well, you don't have a tail to wag, do you? Do you wag your bum when you see somebody that's in the hospital and try to make them happy? Or he just goes and sits so they can pet him, huh?
He gets happy too. He
Does
gets
he?
very happy. Mostly he licks.
Oh,
So
it's so happy.
he knows he's excited, they're excited,
And it helps.
and it helps. Most patients ask, "Can I see your dog?" or "Will you bring him back?"
So what other wonderful things is the Patriot Guard Riders doing?
Well, there are so many things. I mean, it's mostly these funerals, but now that we are moving into talking with veterans, it takes up a lot.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess, like you said, you know how to talk to them, too.
Well,
It's actually listening, I guess, huh?
it's listening, but a lot of times it's, to get to that point, you have to go through the commanders. You have to find out who they are, where they are we allowed to talk to them? So that takes up a lot of time before you even get to talk to the person or to some of the people. Sometimes even with him, I'll take him sometimes.
Yeah, we were starting some shows. I think there was a gentleman that was starting shows. Maybe he's still doing it. Going to the vets' homes and talking to them, and they could tell their story to the community, which I really thought was wonderful, because they could, they're like really old, some of them. Like, we're really old, but they're like 10 years older. And I thought it was a wonderful idea. I think they should sit and talk and tell people their story, because don't forget it. Don't ever forget it, because when we do, we're in trouble.
A year ago, I was talking to a veteran. He was old, and he was very old. He was walking with a cane slowly, and I started to talk to him. He was made one of the first landings in Iwo Jima.
Wow.
And he had such a long story, and it was, of courage. And you would never know it by looking at him. You look at him and say, this is a little old man shuffling down the road. But, in one time in his life, this is a hero. There are also more and more women that we are seeing in the veterans hospitals too. And some of these women really have some stories too.
Wow.
If you listen to them, they're not stories like the other veterans, because women in the past have been used differently in the military. But they have their own stories that are incredible.
I could imagine nurses.
Many are nurses, but some weren't nurses. Some were close to the front line, doing what they could. And they have stories that are just really, you think, wow, incredible. And again, you're looking at a woman that, you think, how could she be in the service? Look at her. She's small. She looks small.
Yeah.
Sitting there.
And the courage.
Yeah, and you wonder, is she remembering correctly? Could that be? So we are seeing more and more women that are in the VA system that want to talk too, tell their story. And they remember it. It's so clear. They might not remember telling you 3 or 4 times, but they remember their story.
Isn't that dear?
It is, it's moving.
Yes. I really commend you, sir, for what you're doing. I really do. I think I have you up pretty high.
It helps us too. I mean, we are not perfect, and to listen to those that went before us helps us to do what we need to do going forward.
It's amazing.
When we stand for a veteran that's passed away or a serviceman, it's hard on us, but talking to those that are still around, that gives us strength too.
Wow.
Many of them are heroes. I mean, they've done things that we don't remember anymore. We forgot or we never heard.
Now, when you're riding the motorcycles to bring somebody home, you take them pick them up, and then you take them to the cemetery where you're going to bury them. Do you get a lot of applause when you go by? Do people say thank you?
Sometimes we do. We recently brought back a World War II veteran. We met him at the airport. We met the family, and they had a casket for him, and we took him to Monongahela. When we got to Monongahela, the streets were lined with people. It is, for us, it's hard to explain, but the adrenaline, the excitement. Here are these people all over applauding
Strangers.
with American flags in his hometown.
And you get to bring them home.
And we are there. It gives us shivers up and down, all of us.
Gives me shivers too.
And bringing him home, and people knowing that he's coming home.
And you've really changed the outlook of motorcycle people too.
In our case, yes.
You have.
Yes.
You really have. I think the admiration when they see you coming is like unbelievable, because they know that you're bringing somebody home, and people really have a great deal of respect for the Guard. They really do. I'm always proud to say that you're my friends.
Well, we're glad that you're our friend, and it is sometimes difficult, sometimes less difficult, but it is always rewarding for us.
Aww.
I mean, it is. We know that this family, this hero deserves to be recognized. The family deserves to have their family member recognized, and that's what we do.
And that makes them feel extra special. They have to feel, the family has to feel extra special with having you guys all coming brum, brum, brumming down the road.
We are part of that family. And when we escorted this World War II veteran, the family came from out of town. I met the family before they went to the airplane, because they go right up to the airplane. And I talked to them. I met every one of them. I hugged them. They hugged me. And I introduced them to some of our other members that were there. And we are with them.
See?
They know that we are there watching over their loved one. We protect their loved one. We don't let anything happen to their loved one.
Aww.
And that's what's important to us.
And I don't know if most people remember, but maybe some don't, about that one group that was very nasty, to the soldiers. And I think that's why your organization really got started.
That's why we got started. But there's other things that are not okay. Sometimes, unfortunately, the news media may want to interview the family, and the family doesn't want that.
And you protect them.
And it's difficult. It's a balance to go to the someone from the news media and tell them, you have to stay back, leave the family alone. Sometimes they get mad at us,
But
but
that's good.
it's the family's request, not our request.
Yeah. And you guys just put a wall so that everything just goes nice and smooth.
We do. It's sometimes that's the way it has to be.
Yeah. You're amazing. Really. I'm so happy that when I emailed you that you said, okay, I'll be there and I'll bring my guy, because I hope you tell everyone that the tail waggers really just are honored and think of them as precious people, because you are.
They are precious.
Yeah.
We would like more people to train their dogs as therapy dogs and go visit the hospitals, because these hospitals, the veterans, they don't have people to visit them. We are the ones that visit.
Aww.
We are the ones that sit with them, and there are not enough volunteers. So anybody doesn't have to be a veteran. Anybody can train
Hear
their
that,
dog.
people?
These dogs are smart. They're willing. They want to work, and they know when they are loved. They take them to a veteran. They love these dogs, so it can be any dog, and we welcome them.
Well, if they would get in touch with your organization, and then you could tell them where they could go to learn to take their dog to get trained.
They could call me. I could guide them. We can help them. We can go together. It's always nice to take 2 or 3 dogs to the hospital. One goes one floor, one goes another floor. It's a long day for one dog.
Aww. And he stays happy and kind till the end, I bet.
Always.
Yeah. Well, I thank you, sir, because we're running out of time here. I want to say thank you so much for coming.
It's a pleasure to be here and an honor to speak about it.
Oh, I wish I had 12 hours to sit and talk to you about it, because it just warms my heart so. And having 3 brothers in the service at the same time, and they all came home, I have no words for servicemen. I just adore them and think they should be honored all the time. But generations change, and it's not instilled in them like it was me, when I was a young girl. And we have to start doing that, I think.
I agree.
High schools, I think, should start taking the volunteer children that would like to go and visit a vet hospital, and introduce them to the vets so that they can learn. Somebody gave a whole bunch for you, and you should respect them. But if you don't teach them, they will never know.
It is really tough that people don't go to the veterans hospitals. Most of these guys are forgotten. Some of them have outlived their family.
Aww.
They see nobody. They know nobody except the nurses and the doctors.
Yeah.
So for anybody to stop in and visit, or to take an hour and read a story to them,
That's all it takes.
they love it. It doesn't have to be a story that's too complicated. Just that you're there taking
Yeah.
time.
Aw.
These veterans love it. They deserve it.
Yes,
to
they
have
do.
that.
That should come first, that they deserve it, and then they love it, because they're. I have friends that were. It breaks my heart even when I think about them, that they passed away. Sad, and you can just never get them out of it. It's just something that's there, but. If a lot of people would visit the hospitals and tell these gentlemen thank you and ladies thank you, I think that would kind of help a little bit.
By visiting the hospital works 2 ways when you visit a hospital. You do something for the veteran, but that helps you too.
Oh, I know.
It's something special in your heart. When you walk away, you feel you've done really a big deed, and you did.
Yeah.
and you've helped them and you helped yourself too, and that's
And if we
important.
could get people bringing their doggies with Spike and having them go on all the floors, wouldn't that be wonderful, huh?
These veterans would really love that. That bond between a dog and them makes it, that's the bridge where we are effective too.
Yeah, they even have dogs now that children read. You know, one's in the room, but the little ones sit and read, and they don't feel judged, you know, and they read your story to the dog. Dogs are absolutely wonderful. You are absolutely wonderful, and I'm so proud to have you for my friend. And if there's anything that tail waggers can do, please let us know.
Anybody that thinks they want to volunteer without a dog or with a dog, just give the station a call, and
Okay.
we'll
Well,
get back to them.
we'll put your things at your.
Okay, you
everything.
do what you need to do, and
Yeah.
we'll guide them because every dog can be a hero too.
Yes, we all can be. So now it's time to say goodbye, and I got some beautiful awards, and from being on BPTV, and it was the one that I really love is my Lifetime Achievement one, and it was from a Pittsburgh community, and it was very touching, and I just wanted to share them with everybody at home. And this one was for a show that I did, but I had to brag a little bit, and but my Lifetime Achievement Award was really my best. So now, don't forget your Humane Societies. They need sheets, towels, blankets, anything that you have, because it's spring and it's puppy and kitten time. And they really need anything that you have that you can send. If it isn't good enough for the homeless, send it to your Humane Society. Like always, I love you. And thanks from all the tail waggers.